than a month after Hurricane Maria, many people in Puerto Rico are still living in the dark. The island's power grid was devastated by the storm. Well, knowing a thing or two about the wrath of such a massive hurricane, Con Edison quickly responded. They sent crews and equipment to help restore some sense of normalcy. So joining us now to talk about the efforts by phone is spokesperson Alfonso Quiros, and he's currently in Puerto Rico. You've been there since Friday, and Alfonso, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about, you have 200 people down there with you and about 150 vehicles. You're concentrating on San Juan, and what are you seeing?
Well, I will say this, the devastation is real and the suffering is real, and we've seen it firsthand. But the people here in Puerto Rico couldn't be more welcoming or appreciative. As you know and everyone else knows, there's really a strong connection between New York and Puerto Rico, and we're certainly feeling the love.
We have heard so much about most of the island still being without power. What are you seeing? How many people are out, and how long are we talking that they may be affected?
Well, we are working closely with the local utility. I'm not sure about how many people are out in total, but what they have us doing is that they have us focused on San Juan, Old San Juan, and different parts of the city of San Juan. The way that this works, or at least in the way it works in New York, is that you try to hit an area that has the most amount of people, and you go down from there. So you find a pocket of customers that are out, like say 5,000, and you hit them first, and then you go to 4,000 people, and then you go to 3,000 people, the areas that have that many people, and you go down from there, because the idea is that you want to, number one, get people, get areas where the most people are at, and obviously important things like hospitals and police stations and things like that.
When you first got there on Friday to now, on Wednesday morning, how many people have been restored, and what are the challenges that you're facing?
Well, interesting because the system here is really different than our system at home. Mm-hmm. They have a large overhead system, somewhat that we have in, say, Staten Island. And however, in Staten Island, the poles, the overhead lines and the overhead wires are on poles that are in the ground. But in here, especially in Old San Juan, it's really different. The poles are actually on top of roofs of homes and businesses. And that was a whole lot different than what we're used to. So in order to even just gain access to a lot of these poles, you have to gain access to the homes or businesses and climb up, 6 or 7 flights because the elevator isn't working. Mm-hmm. And that's just to even see the equipment. So there is a little bit of a difference in terms of their system and our system, and that's a little bit of some of the challenges that we're facing.
And as you deal with those challenges, are there thoughts or discussions that are taking place about redoing the system in a way that would make it easier to access if this were to happen again?
Well, yes. So they're going to have their system still on the rooftop, at least in Old San Juan, because this is a very old city, and whenever they dig, they usually have to do some sort of architectural. They have to dig for anything that's in the ground, and they have to be very careful. So they're going to stick with the poles on the roofs. But what we've decided to do is that we've decided to work very closely with the local utility in terms of making sure that they're able to build a better utility. In New York, all of our equipment is marked and numbered. We know where everything is at. Everything is mapped out. We know where our equipment is at. And when we got here, we noticed that things really weren't properly numbered or marked the way we do it in New York. So whenever we were directed to repair a specific piece of equipment, they would only really give us a general location, like, okay, go here between 5th and 6th, or Main and 8th Avenue. And it was only really a general location of where the equipment was at. So what we did is that we sat down and created a whole new map of their streets and their system and properly numbered all of their equipment so that they are able to, easily identify it in the future.
Yeah, and your workers are coming back on Friday, which means obviously you're spending Thanksgiving in Puerto Rico. I imagine it will be a slightly different Thanksgiving with all that people are dealing with there. But what happens after you leave there?
Well, there's certainly no talk about when people are going to be leaving just yet. Mm-hmm. We're going to stay here for as long as they need us or as long as the work is done. the majority of our people. You know, they may swap a few people out and then they'll have more people come in, but we're here until the work is done, or
So
at least until they need us.
Yeah, consistent presence will be there. And any estimate on how long that will be?
Certainly not. I mean, we really have no idea, and that's not really what we're thinking about. We're just thinking about what we have to do here. But unfortunately, there's really not going to be Thanksgiving time for our people here. There's really not enough room to hold all of our people in one area and to have anything like that. And when we spoke to our people, they really said that they prefer to be out in the field. We're here really for a very specific reason, and that's what they want to do.
All right. Well, we tell them thank you, and we appreciate the work, and we appreciate you stopping in and kind of updating us.
Thank you very much.